On this week's edition of The Overtime, we'll take a look at the Flagstaff girls soccer team as they try and repeat as state champions. Then we highlight NAU's women's volleyball and their run to the championship game. We also have a chance to talk about NAU's men's basketball. And lastly, a look into Flagstaff girls basketball as they dive into their playoff season. All of that and more on this week's edition of The Overtime. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to this edition of The Overtime, Northern Arizona's only sports show. I'm your host, Tyler Murphy, joined by reporter Michael Manny. Michael, are you ready to get into this week's content?
Thanks, Tyler. Let's jump right into it.
Starting off the pitch, the Flagstaff Eagles girls soccer team is attempting to defend their state title in 4A conference championship. Sports reporter Connor Trett talked to Eagles head coach Holly Jones and team's captains LIANNA Albert and Morgan CASLIN to discuss their season.
Flagstaff is your 4A state champion.
2 days. That's all it took for head coach Holly Jones to put Flagstaff's first state title since 2011 behind her, as she and the rest of the team began focusing on getting back to the big dance. Flagstaff has 14 returners from last year's team, including goalkeeper LIANNA Albert, who as a sophomore last year pitched 6 shutouts, one of those coming in the title game against Catalina Foothills. She has only improved from last year, allowing just 6 goals in the 2021 season.
I think a lot of it has to go to my defense because they're really disciplined and they get on themselves and each other when they get a mistake, but they also pick each other up. So if there is a mistake, then they clean it up. And they've really helped me out as a keeper because when I talk to them, they listen and they do what they're supposed to do. And we just all know that defense wins championships.
A new addition to the team this year is forward Morgan CASLIN, a junior who couldn't play on the team last year due to restrictions with her club team. But since joining the Eagles, CASLIN has led the team in goals, assists, and points. Albert and CASLIN were voted as co-captains for the 2021 campaign. And in addition to leading the team as captains, they're both in the top percentile on the stat sheets as well. Albert is 24th in the state amongst goalkeepers in goals against average, and CASLIN is tied for 20th in the state in points per game. But to both players, the real prize isn't stats, it's a chance to lead the Eagles to back-to-back titles for the first time since 2008.
I think that winning a state title would show how much work we've put in this year, especially because from the day that our season was canceled, we were all so sad and it was just really crushing for all of us. So I think to come back from that and win a state title would be amazing for all of us. I think it would just show how much effort and time we put into soccer and how much we love it. And I think that that's a really big reward that we want to get this year.
Last year, Flagstaff was the surprise team in the playoffs as they snuck into the championship game, having not won a single playoff game in regulation. This year, with the title to defend, the Eagles won't have the luxury of no outside expectations.
This year, it's a little bit different because we do have that target on our back because, we are the defending state champions. So it's a little bit different, and they haven't experienced a loss that ends the season. We don't want to have that feeling, and we're going to try to keep everything within our control and take care of business.
The Eagles' title defense is well underway, as they beat Mesquite 8-0 in their first round matchup March 10th. The team will be back in action in the quarterfinals March 13th as they take on the Sahuarita Mustangs this Saturday.
Moving up to the bigger leagues, the NAU's women's volleyball team has a solid record of 9-3 as they're headed into their last 2 games of the season. Michael, could you dive deeper into this team?
Tyler, the Lumberjacks are currently 3rd in the Big Sky as the conference tournament nears. They started off the year on a tear, winning 4 of their first 5 matches. After being shut out by Montana State 3-0 February 7th, the team rebounded, starting a 4-match winning streak, with 2 cancellations versus Idaho State in between February 21st and 22nd. This streak included a win against the first-place Weber State Wildcats last Sunday, who came into Flagstaff unbeaten at 10-0. A notable aspect of this team is their youth. The team leaders in kills, aces, digs, and blocks are all underclassmen. And two of those players, freshman Lila Hollis and sophomore Taylor Jacobson, were named Big Sky Players of the Week this season. After a loss to the Wildcats 3-1 on March 8th, the Jacks will try to finish the regular season strong and travel to Greeley to take on the defending conference champion Northern Colorado Bears March 14th and 15th.
Well, the Lumberjacks will definitely be heading into an exciting game as they take on the defending conference champs. That will be a matchup you won't want to miss. Coming up, we will be taking a look into NAU's men's basketball as they kick off their playoffs.